It's Friday, March 13th, 2026, the second of three Friday the 13th this year, which is the most you can have in a year. Last time it happened, 2015. Next time, 2037. Welcome to episode 194 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. In this edition of the Postcast, the Planning Board addresses housing, a busy city council agenda, Woodstock spreads its water wings, APD busts a mail thief, some great sports news just across the estuary, warm weather brings lots to do, including Restaurant Week 2026. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story: on Monday, the Planning Board reviewed Alameda's General Plan and Housing Element annual progress reports, which track the city's progress toward meeting its state-mandated housing goals. City Planner Tristan Swear noted that Alameda has issued 663 building permits towards its regional housing needs allocation target of 5,353 homes for the 2023 to 2031 cycle. That is well below the needed pace. Among the roadblocks, high construction costs, financing constraints, and market uncertainty. Housing production data showed a notable decline in building permits issued from 243 units in 2024 to 65 units in 2025, with many of the 2025 permits being ADUs rather than multifamily projects. The 243 permits issued in 2024 did result in 234 units completed in 2025. However, applications increased in 2025, suggesting permit activity could rise in the coming year. It should be noted that aside from a few areas such as Sacramento, Dublin, and Fresno, nearly every jurisdiction in California is behind on producing enough housing. Board member Andy Wang emphasized that while the report correctly notes that interest rates, construction costs, and market uncertainty have slowed development, the city should pursue more proactive policy solutions. He urged considering new policy tools used by other Bay Area cities to stimulate housing construction, such as temporary reductions in development fees, lowering affordable housing requirements, tax reductions, and incentives for office-to-residential conversion. Despite the setbacks, there was progress on several major projects. Affordable units at North Housing Project reached the final stage with certificates of occupancy issued for units serving households at 30% and 40% of area median income. The Reshape Project received entitlements in 2025 and will replace existing supportive housing with new housing. Applications for the West Midway Housing Development entitlements are under review, while Alameda Marina Phase 2 and the Grant and Clement Townhome development saw construction progress and completed units. The Mariner Square Loop Project also secured planning entitlements and is advancing toward development. As far as a short-term rental ordinance, it is still being developed and is expected to return to the Planning Board later in the year for a study session. The board unanimously voted to accept the annual progress report with some revisions and clarifications before submitting it to California Housing and Community Development by April 1st. City Council will use the annual reports to inform citywide budget and capital improvement program decisions. Karen Jensen has the full story at alamedapost.com/news. Karen's also keeping tabs on City Council. Coming up next Tuesday, Council will consider a proposed traffic safety pilot at the Lincoln Avenue and Walnut intersection. Mayor Marilyn Ezzy Ashcraft will reprise her State of the City address. Council will review annual reports covering the city's housing, transportation, and climate action plans and consider labor agreement clarifications with both the police officers and firefighters unions. The Lincoln and Walnut intersection has been identified as a high collision location in Alameda's Vision Zero action plan, which aims to eliminate all traffic fatalities and severe injuries on city streets by 2035. From 2009 to October of 2024, 38 collisions were reported at that intersection, making it the second highest collision intersection in the city and the highest among non-signalized intersections. Nearly 80% of the crashes, broadside collisions, typically occurring when drivers attempt to cross or turn left onto Lincoln from Walnut. Despite prior improvements, collisions have continued, prompting staff to explore stronger safety measures, including installing a quick-build diverter island that would prevent vehicles from crossing Lincoln Avenue or turning left from Walnut Street. Pedestrians and bicyclists would still be able to cross the intersection using the existing crosswalks and flashing beacons. The change is expected to eliminate most of the broadside collisions, redirect traffic to Oak and Willow where there are signals, and discourage drivers from using Walnut as a shortcut to the Park Street Bridge. The diverter would be installed as a temporary pilot project, potentially beginning in the summer of 26. If successful, the improvement could become permanent as part of the Lincoln Marshall Pacific Corridor Safety Project planned for 2028. Also on Tuesday, Council will vote on accepting the 2025 annual reports, including the 2040 General Plan Housing Element, Transportation Choices, Vision Zero Action, Climate Action and Resiliency, and climate adaptation and hazard mitigation. Finally, staff recommends that the city approve 2 letters of understanding with the Alameda Police Officers Association and the other with the Firefighters Union, IAFF Local 689. The APD letter would be to clarify compensation language to comply with CalPERS pension reporting requirements. The AFD letter clarifies contract language so that extra pay such as incentives and holiday pay comply with the pension rules. For full details, including ways you can get involved, see Karen Jensen's article at alamedapost.com/news. The Oakland-Alameda Water Shuttle's expanded weekend schedule is back. On Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, the free shuttle, known as Woodstock, will again offer departures from 7:20 a.m. to 9:36 p.m. The weekday schedule, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, remains the same. Woodstock is wheelchair accessible and accommodates up to 31 passengers and 14 bicycles. Catch it in Alameda at Bohall Circle Immigrant Park Dock at the end of 5th Street behind Target. It ferries passengers across the estuary to Jack London Square in Oakland at the foot of Broadway. For a full schedule, including a link to show you the best connection times to the SF Bay Ferry to the city, head to alamedapost.com/Alameda-Life. Last Wednesday, Alameda police officers arrested a burglary suspect with a stash of drug paraphernalia, burglary tools, and stolen mail packages addressed to more than 80 individuals in Alameda and Oakland. The arrest occurred at around 3 a.m. on February 25th, according to an APD report on Facebook. Officers located the individual who matched the suspect's description and had an outstanding warrant for burglary. The officers discovered the stolen mail during the investigation and are currently in the process of notifying the victims. APD reminds you to collect your mail promptly after delivery, use a mail hold if you're away on vacation, and sign up for USPS Informed Delivery to digitally preview incoming mail. I would echo another of their recommendations: place credit freezes on your accounts at Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, one of the best and easiest tools to fight against fraud. Full story at alamedapost.com/news. Despite losing 3 major teams, Oakland once again finds itself at the center of the sports universe. On Thursday, gold medal figure skater Elisa Leo was honored at Frank Ogawa Plaza with a sold-out event that was live-streamed on multiple platforms. Of course, right after her Olympic performance, Elisa was spotted here in Alameda dining at Triboco. Leo's Alameda ties don't stop there. Her stylist, Miyako Belize, is a daughter of Alameda and currently up for a costume design Oscar for Marty Supreme. You can check out Gene Kahane's February 2nd profile of Miyako at alamedapost.com/arts. Oakland may soon have another reason to celebrate. More than a few Alameda families have students enrolled at Bishop O'Dowd. Right now, their high school girls soccer team is pursuing perfection. The Dragons play for the Division I state title on Saturday in Sacramento against Santa Ana's Mater Dei Monarchs. The Dragons went 14-0 in the regular season, which saw them allow a single goal. That's right, they outscored their opponents 87-1. Including defeating the AHS Hornets twice, 9-0 and 6-0. In the postseason, the Dragons are 5-0 and have outscored opponents 12-3. Saturday's championship game at 5:30. Back in Alameda, lots going on. Amanda Laird has rounded up some great events focusing on Women's History Month and St. Patrick's Day in her All Around Alameda column. The Alameda Free Library has multiple events, including story time with the APD and Mayor Ashcraft. Tonight, Friday, Rhythmics Cultural Works welcomes the community to the opening reception of their latest exhibit, Flight Patterns, celebrating Alameda's abundant local birds. Quick side note, thoroughly enjoyed my time at Rhythmics last weekend for the amazing Bubble Man. If you've never seen his act, put it on your calendar for next time. You won't even need a child to enjoy it. On Saturday, head to the Frank Bett Center for the Arts at 1601 Peru for a celebration of their exhibit, Different Dimensions. Hope you can join me on Sunday at 8 a.m. on KCSM HD2 or streaming at kcsm.org when my guest on the Alameda Connection will be Frank Bett Executive Director Margaret Fago. Also on Saturday, work out your frustrations while making a memorable souvenir at Cussing Crafts DIY Rage Crafting Workshop at 6 o'clock, presented by Alameda Gallery and Collective and hosted by their next-door neighbor, Fireside Lounge. On St. Patrick's Day, Tuesday the 17th, Faction Brewing will be open from 2 until 8. They're typically closed on Tuesdays, but hey, it's St. Patty's. Details on all these events in the All Around Alameda column at alamedapost.com/Alameda-Life. Also, while you're there, check out the preview of Restaurant Week. From the 20th until the 29th, over 60 Alameda eateries will participate in the celebration. Coming up next month, the return of our history walking tours. Join Dennis Evanosky and Adam Gillett twice in April and then once a month from May through October. Check out the various subjects, all with new information, at alamedapost.com/tours. You also want to mark your calendar for April 24th for one of the world's most celebrated ocean photography exhibitions, Ocean Photographer of the Year, presented by Oceanographic Magazine. It will be installed for 1 month inside Hangar 41. There will also be a separate gallery featuring Edge of the Pacific, Bay Perspectives, an exhibition of local ocean photography. Details and a preview at alamedapost.com/arts. Find the Alameda Post on all the social media platforms, now including TikTok. Get the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Peeler, back next Friday with episode 195 of the Alameda Postcast.